Hello everyone and welcome back to another theory crafting video. It's been a while because of the latest raid tier, but we're finally ready to pick up where we left off. After the last video, I went back to the stream to consider feedback and brainstorm new ideas. I'll be quickly going over the feedback that stood out the most to address different points before going into the newest Corsair iteration. I really appreciate the engagement we had in the last video. While I may not see eye to eye with everyone, I will do my best to justify my decisions. Starting with what I believe was the most significant critique was the fact that there's really no benefit of a ranged job having a melee option, only vice versa. This is because there's no minimum range that ranged jobs need in order to deal maximum damage. Dungeons & Dragons, Monster Hunter, and other games like that have versions of this, but Final Fantasy XIV does not. I still want the Corsair job to be flexible, but we'd essentially have to create the problem in the first place by making it a melee job by default with more ranged options, which we will. Next was a bit of feedback that seemed to come up quite a bit, but I disagreed with, and that was about weapon choice. The concern was that having similar weapons, be it sabers or pistols, would cause players to confuse Corsair weapons with the weapons of Paladin and Machinist. While there is a chance for some confusion, the game does have a few effective ways of communicating the differences between similar weapons we already have. Weapons like the tomes for Scholar and Summoner, and the staves with White Mage and Black Mage. If anyone is confused between the Corsair weapons and other jobs, they can quickly resolve the issue in the same way we all do now. I also believe that similar weapons can have vastly varied combat styles that can appear as different jobs in the future, and I don't want to dissuade the devs from interesting concepts just because of a minor gripe. Granted, they are plenty creative with what they've come up with, say, Sage for instance, but I believe more options to pull from are better than less. Smaller notes were that First Mate, while an interesting concept, resembled Dance Partner too much, and that people would prefer to call the Treasure Hunt something like Plunder to stay in line with the pirating theme. I agree with both of these, and I'll be addressing them in this video. Now then, for the new and improved Corsair. Corsair is a pirate-themed class for Final Fantasy XIV, carrying on the mantle of Mistbeard. It is a versatile, dexterity-based melee job that wields a cutlass with access to an old-fashioned pistol. Through its melee combo or an off-global reload ability, it will build up an ammunition resource. This ammo will grant access to the pistol, which will allow the Corsair to continue attacking enemies in cases where it cannot stay in melee range. The Corsair will be able to switch their stance between melee and ranged as long as they have ammunition. If ammunition is full, any further melee attacks that would have resulted in additional ammo will instead deal 50% more damage by automatically firing the pistol within the same animation window. Any use of ammo, manual or automatic, will grant a black spot stack. Once 5 stacks have been accumulated, they can be spent on a high-potency attack where the Corsair will unleash a merciless onslaught on its enemies. This attack can either be ranged or melee depending on the Corsair's stance. Which weapons are used for this attack will not affect the potency. Corsairs are masters of fighting dirty, and they use these skills to even the odds when facing against multiple enemies. Apart from using minor explosives and sweeping blade attacks for their usual AoE rotation, they will have access to a smoke bomb and caltrops as off-global cooldown abilities dropped on the Corsair's location. The smoke bomb will blind normal enemies within its area of effect while also applying a poison dot at higher levels. This will prove useful when playing solo or in dungeons by mitigating damage dealt by enemies caught within the smoke. The caltrops will bind normal enemies within the area of effect, restricting their movement and allowing yourself a moment to breathe, or your party's tank to position mobs together for the rest of the group to AoE. It can also give your healer a chance to prepare healing for larger pulls by keeping mobs in one place, unable to attack the tank until the effect wears off. Blindness and binding will, as usual, have no effect on boss monsters. The Corsair will have access to a number of other useful off-global cooldowns, with the most notable being Plunder. A pirate takes what they want, and the Corsair is no different. By plundering enemies, you will gain a new resource called booty. Critical hits with plunder will result in double the amount of booty gained. Attacks against the first target will guarantee booty. Subsequent targets within the area have a lesser chance to yield booty, and won't benefit from the critical hit bonus until higher levels. The Corsair will also be able to give out booty for a variety of effects and attacks. A pirate's worth is measured by their booty, since a pirate that can't plunder isn't much of one at all. As such, spirits of departed pirates will answer the call of the Corsair's booty when enough is offered up, lending their support. Booty can be exchanged for more ammunition, for a barrage from a ghost pirate ship, or to summon spirits to strike terror into the hearts of lesser enemies, immobilizing them with fear. Finally, booty can be traded to gain access to the legendary pirate weapons, a golden pistol and saber, allowing the Corsair to dual wield for a short time. This will give the Corsair access to new animations through a new high potency combo for the duration of the effect. As usual, the weapons will change based on whether you are in melee or range stance, but the potency will remain the same. Now, where does all this booty go when you give it to the spirits? Surely not just ghost blackjack and ghost hookers. It is actually stashed away in the Mistbeard's hoard, where booty from across generations of pirates is stashed. After the Corsair has proven themselves and attained a captain rank, they will also be given the ability to summon booty from their personal stash to spend on further abilities. Of course, no pirate is anything without their flag, which brings us to our next ability, the Jolly Roger. This will raise a flag to increase the party's direct hit rate and increase booty dropped by enemies within the effect. The flag will stay over the Corsair and provide the benefits until the effect expires. If the Corsair is away from the boss during the Jolly Roger window, they can transfer the effect to their first mate with an ability similar to Sage's Eucrasia. A first mate's duties are to manage the ship and crew so the captain can focus on more important tasks. In the same way, a Corsair's first mate will handle things on the front line if the Corsair is away for whatever reason. This includes holding the flag, plundering enemies, dropping smoke bombs, and other abilities that may require specific positioning. The first mate can also carry extra booty for the Corsair up to 50% of the maximum capacity. Once the Corsair depletes their booty to 50% or less, the first mate's booty reserves will automatically transfer to the Corsair. And that does it for the overview of Corsair's second iteration. Before I close out the video, I wanted to give some insight as to why I made certain design choices. First is the ammunition. I initially thought that since it's a resource associated with Heavensward Machinists, that it would not be looked back on fondly. On the contrary, when I asked people, it seemed to be the one thing they missed the most and would like to have back. Overcapping a resource, however, is never a good feeling, though it's not always avoidable. That's why I included the automatic pistol attack if it ever did happen. This way, players won't feel as pressured to spend ammunition as it comes. This should allow people to save ammo for a specific part of a fight or their rotation without sacrificing too much DPS. Next is the decision to make abilities like Smoke Bomb and Caltrops a centered ability rather than something you place. This is more of a personal preference as a controller player, where I just want to be able to hit a button and set things down without having to take time to position it. There are options to macro these kinds of abilities, but this is more streamlined in my opinion. It also adds some unique convenience to the first mate by being able to center it on other party members. In dungeons, for example, you can pick the tank as your first mate, so AoEs are always dropped ahead of mobs so they can be positioned properly. Finally is the decision to remove any discrepancy between melee and ranged attacks in regards to potency. The last thing I'd want is for players to feel like they had to be in one stance or another for any reason other than the freedom of movement that ranged attacks provide. I also included the reload ability so that players would still have the freedom to use the ammo for range attacks and not just sit on it for damage. My hope is that it will behave similarly to Gunbreaker, where resources can be used for all available attacks rather than kept for one or the other. But that's all for today. I hope the added visualizations helped clear up some of the ideas and made everything appear cohesive. I know a few people were overwhelmed with the information last time, so I wanted to put forth the extra effort with these animations to alleviate that. As always, please leave your feedback in the comments below, and I'll be doing my best to go through as many as possible. I look forward to the next and final iteration of Corsair to be an amazing one, though I'll admit I'm pretty happy with what we've come up with so far. In any case, thank you all for watching, God bless you all, and we will see you in the next one.